What we'll be making in this video is the front end elements for making a form. It will not function, as it's not going to have any kind of back end or middleware functionality to go to a mail server. However, if you were working with other developers in the future, you could certainly plug this functionality in. At the end of the day, you still need to be able to make a form in the front end for it to work, so that's what we'll be covering in this video. We have our map on the right hand side, and this real estate right here is perfect for adding in a form. So we should first remove all of the text that we have here. That way we don't need to worry about it being in the way. The only thing that you'd really might want to have here is some, maybe like a contact statement or something to kind of say, if you wanted to reach out, you can do the following. And now we're going to make our form. So let's do some housekeeping again. Is our form. Comment that out. And end of form. And comment that out too. So inside of here, what we want to do is create our form. And you can do it both ways. You can either type it in here, or we can, as we did before, we can just add it inside of here. I would recommend doing it this way, so that way we can keep it inside of the comments we did. So all we have to do here is form, and I'm just going to add a class too, just in case we need to use it. Contact form. Create some space. And now that we have our form, we can start putting in fields that we'd want to use. And really all we have to do for this one is input, tab. It's going to automatically go to text, and then you can see we have a field right here. So a lot of times you might see in a form that it has a heading above it, but it's really not necessary. The easier way to do is have text inside of here right off the hop. And to do that is called a placeholder. So if we do space and just get to the placeholder, we can put, first and last name. And when we save, what's useful about this is it doesn't actually maintain the text there. It's just more of kind of a indicator of this is what you should be putting in. So when you preview, you don't have to worry about deleting anything. It just can write right over it. It's just there to really show you that's what you should be putting in, and can save you a lot of real estate and the need to put in lots of text. Then we can continue on doing this. Rather than writing this all out, let's just use the DOM again, and we'll duplicate. Duplicate again. And then what we can do here is type in, for example, phone, email, and we're going to use an alternative way of adding in content, and this is called a text area or a comment box. So to do that is just type in text area, and it's going to show up relatively large. But you can see this is actually resizable, so it's kind of a useful feature depending on when you want to make that happen. We're going to apply some CSS to this later on to make it look a little nicer. But what you can see now is we're starting to get the look and feel of a form, and we can see that now when we preview. We're going to modify the layout, of course, but now we have a way to add in context, some words, and lastly, we're going to just add in a submit button, which is just input again, and rather than type text, I'm just going to do button, and you'll see we have that there, and then value, submit. And what you generally would do with these is apply an action to, say, post the information. But since it's not going to work, we don't need to worry about that. We're just going to focus purely on the aesthetics of this for today. And I just noticed the one thing I did make a mistake of is let's put that button below the text area. And that way it'll be there. And now we can start applying the elements to make this look just a little more clean within. So to go about doing that, we have our form with the class contact form. And we never know if we might end up having another form on the site, so let's just use the class for this. So below the map rule we have on CSS, our style.css page, let's just type in contact dash form. And I want to apply rules to the input, the text area, both of them at once. So we can just do star. That means anything inside of the contact form. And we'll do our curly brackets. We want them to display on top of each other rather than right now it looks like they're floating. So we want them to be just slightly larger in size. And for this sake, we have the p tag, which is doing that. So we're just going to do display block. And what that should do, with any luck, is, yep, you can see that it straightens out all of the content here. Now what we want to do is also width. And what I think we can do for this one, let's just try 50%. We may have to play around with this, but then that will make all of them inside of here 50% of the size. We are going to want to modify the look of these input fields. They look, pretty basic. So we can leverage again the border radius rule. Let's do like 3 pixels. We can create some spacing between each other too. So let's do margin 5 pixels. And then we have some nice space there. Then we're going to do border solid 1 pixel, and let's do the color picker. I'm just going to pick the exact same color as the border we have around the article tag. And it's a little finicky sometimes, but there it is. And now when we go back and forth, you can see we're starting to have what looks to be a form. Last few things we're going to want to do is padding. After we do our semicolon padding, let's try 5 pixels. This will just space out these objects a little bit more. And when we go ahead and preview this in our website, you can see we have what looks to be a relatively decent form. And we can modify the height of these comments simply by making it, rather than 10 rows, 9 rows, and inside of our text area tag, we'll just type in comments. And now we can see we have pretty close to a well laid out input section. Last thing we're going to do is just standardize all the font inside of them. So just do font-family, Arial, and then we're just going to do color gray. And once we save, we can see now that we have a nice form. And that's really all there is to it. What we'll do next is turn this into an actual contact page.